All right.
the two-time NBA champion. And again, he's been saddled with those 3 fouls, so inconsistent minutes in that first half. That's his third miss from the free throw line. He does snag a loose ball.
All right. All right. In three, two, one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Betting Window on the Nerdport Network. On today's episode, we dive into the betting world of the Pope. Uh, yeah. Teams looking to advance in the NBA playoffs. We have an NFL schedule as well as betting lines. But first, let's get this off the right way.
Yo, listen up, here's the story about a little guy that lives in a blue world. And all day and all night and everything he sees is just blue. Like him, inside and outside. Blue his house with a blue little window and a blue Corvette. And everything is blue for him and himself and everybody around. Cause he ain't got nobody to listen to. I'm blue, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die. I'm blue, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Betting Window on the Nerdport Network. I am your host, Stephen Ronnie. And with me, as always, is nobody for right now. Ryan will be with us shortly. I do not believe John or Christian will be with us tonight. But if this is the first time you've ever been with us, thank you for joining us. We are a betting podcast that dives into the good, the bad, and the what the fuck was that in the wide world of sports and sports betting. Then again, also adding a little bit of pro wrestling and video games mixed in. Because God forbid, during the summer, there's not a lot of news. So, yeah. But welcome. The boy. Yeah, so if you caught the opening, betting on the Pope, that's a thing. We'll dive into, for the wrestling side later in the show, the Sabu stuff. We talk about the Oaks races as well as the NFL releasing their schedule. But where to begin? You know what? Let's start out with the baseball news that's very... You know what? No, I can't talk about Pete Rose until Ryan gets here. God damn it. You know what? We'll talk about the NFL. While we wait for him, we'll talk about the NFL news and the small stuff that about Derrick Henry re-signing with the Ravens for a $30 million extension, 2 years, $15 million, 25 of it guaranteed. Which pretty much is, for the most part, he's guaranteed his entire contract. Because he's not going to not... What are they going to... They're going to be shy $5 million with him? No, he's going to get his $30 million. Granted, he's over the age of 30. He's got 1 year plus a 2-year extension. I mean, good for him. He's still one of the better backs in the league, and especially on a Ravens team that has been hitting the ground running. It's definitely been helpful for them. I can't say anything bad about it. I think that's actually perfect for them. Yeah, no, like, that's huge. Let me see something. Let me see. What did the NFL drop there? Week 1, yes. Oh, yes, they did. Week 1. Actually, okay. So the NFL has officially dropped their scheduling for all the teams, and we have week 1 lines. So I'll go through this real quick and break this up. Hold on. So, all right. So, opening day for the NFL. We got the Cowboys versus the Eagles. Eagles are -7 going into this. That number is going to change. I think if you want to hold your money up until September, bet on the Eagles. Because I think once the public starts diving into this, the Eagles are going to get up to 9.5. And I would have to go to Dallas. And probably on the same hand, you're probably going to get the number is over and over. The over-under is 47. You're probably going to get this to drop to 46, 45.5. So by that realm, I would say wait and do Dallas and the over at 45. Going to Brazil, Kansas City Chiefs versus the LA Chargers on September 5th. Kansas City Chiefs are a 2.5-point favorite as of right now. Again, when we start getting closer, these are going to start getting a little more inflated. The Chiefs are going to be more than a field goal favorite coming out of this. I will tell you one thing I'm going to do is I'm betting that over. It's a 43.5 right now. This game easily is going to, for the most part, go over. Detroit versus Green Bay is your 4 o'clock game on the 7th. So what they're doing. Oh, those are some of the lines. Okay. That's your Sunday night game. Or no, that's your game of the week. And then your Monday night game is Baltimore. Or no, your Sunday night game is Baltimore, Buffalo, okay. Minnesota, Chicago is your Monday night game. That's a snooze fest. I mean, listen. We're getting, let me actually pull up. the schedule. There we go. What do the Jets have for their schedule this year? Okay. Open up with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Might be interesting because that's going to be a possible spot with Rodgers coming in. Then home against the Buffalo Bills. It's early, so who knows. At Tampa. At Miami, week 4. That is a Monday night game. Sunday at 1. Week 5 is Dallas. Home. Week 6, home against Denver. Oh, no, that's in London. Carolina. At Cincinnati. Week 9, bye. Perfect. Come back against Cleveland. Should be interesting to see. Should be interesting to see at that time, week 10, who the starter is going to be. If it's going to be, if Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders kind of stole the spot. 11 at New England. That is your Thursday night game. At Baltimore. Home against Atlanta. Home against Miami. At Jacksonville, at the Saints, which who knows if that's going to be Shuck. New England at home, and then at Buffalo to end this season. So we have to end the game on the road. Lovely. Because, you know, the greatest thing you want to do is hopefully Buffalo will have everything clinched by then and not have to worry. It's not even worth the tickets anymore. They're saying, so the jet ticket's $125 freaking dollars. Hello, Ryan.
What's up?
Nothing. Just looking over the Jets schedule that they just dropped.
How's it looking?
Should be interesting. It opens up week 1 with your Steelers.
Okay.
Big notoriety games. Monday Night Football at Miami, week 4. London game Sunday morning against Denver. Thursday night game against New England. And that is it as of right now for primetime games.
Okay.
Let me see what Pittsburgh's got for you. Okay. At the Jets, home against Seattle, at New England, home against Minnesota. Oh, you got a week 5 bye. You're overseas for week 4. That's why you have a week 5 bye. Week 6, the Browns. The Bengals at the Bengals, home against Green Bay, which is a Sunday night game. The Bengals is a Thursday night game, so you have a Thursday night, Sunday night back-to-back. Week 9, Indy, home against Indy. Week 10 at the Chargers, that's Sunday night football. Home against Cincinnati, at the Bears. Home against Buffalo, at Baltimore, home against Miami, at Detroit, and at Cleveland, and ends it in home against Baltimore. So, overall, I mean, I like the schedule.
Right.
But you still, as of right now, it really all depends on if Rodgers comes. If Rodgers is the quarterback you have a better shot, I would hammer the over because right now you're over. The over-under for Pittsburgh right now is 9.5. Or, sorry, is 8.5. So will they go 5? Again, will they go 500? Over 500.
Okay.
If you have Rodgers, that is definitely a possibility. If you start the season with not Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, I don't know about that. I don't think so. What do you think? Right, what do you think? You still there? Okay, I don't know if I lost them or... I don't even know if you can hear me. I can hear you, but can you hear me? That sounds like a no. I can hear you. Bueller.
I'm here.
Okay, I was literally asking you a question. I didn't know if you heard me or not.
I did not. What was your question?
I said, what do you think about, like, if Rodgers... So your over-under right now for Pittsburgh is pretty much it's 500. Do you think Rodgers is going to be a Steeler? And if so, do you think if not, it's 8.5. So can they go win 9 games without Aaron Rodgers?
Yes, they can.
Even though, who is their quarterback right now? I don't even know who they have on the team right now. Yeah, Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, and Skylar Thompson. So, I mean, Mason Rudolph, I don't see them getting 9 wins with Mason Rudolph. But who knows?
Nobody, because we haven't seen anything. We haven't seen him on the field yet.
Well, Mason Rudolph's is a wily veteran, so
A wily veteran, but every season is different.
yeah, but you can't like Mason Rudolph is one of those players that he's a glorified. He is a.
And he could set off this season and break records and fucking dominate the league. Like I said, every season.
Since when? When has a backup done that? Like that?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when the last time it happens. There's still the probability of it.
Yeah, it's highly unlikely.
Same probability until Aaron Rodgers fucking tore his Achilles. You guys were going to take a, and he was going to take you guys all the way. Then he fucking hurt himself. Like, it could happen. As implausible as it may be, it could still happen. We're way too early to make any predictions about how a team's going to play. Because, A, we don't know what these players have been doing in their offseason.
Well, I'll tell you right now. I will say this right now. Pittsburgh is going to win games if Rodgers does not come to the Steelers. I'm just going to say this right now. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win more games by their defense than they are their offense.
A win's a win.
I understand that. But, I mean, if they win 9 games, I'll say this. if you think Pittsburgh's going to win 9 games, you might as well put your bet in for Tomlin for Coach of the Year. Because that would win him Coach of the Year.
So how long do we got until preseason starts?
Oh, God. June, July, 3 months?
Don't you think it's a little early to be making any predictions about how a team's going to be 3 months before they've had anything?
I'm also looking, I mean, granted, you can look at it on paper. That literally is, I'm giving you my best analysis by looking at them on paper. Now, listen, I could be, like I said, I could be completely wrong. But at the same hand, I'm looking at it as, okay, we're going to get, I know how, I've seen how Mason Rudolph played. Mason Rudolph is a good backup. He's not a starter.
Yeah.
Now, the other question is well, when you flip that, Rodgers could end up going to New Orleans for all we know.
Right.
And then shit gets real. And then for Pittsburgh, that gets very interesting. Again, Pittsburgh on paper, their defense is ridiculous. It always is. But now let's see what happens. Because the division in, what's it called? The division in the North is going to be hard like always. And I don't even mean Cleveland, because granted, the wild card team out of all this are the Browns. Because we have no idea if Shedeur Sanders or what the quarterback deal for the Browns are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore, you already know what you're going to get. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry are going to be what they normally are, especially the fact that they just signed Henry to a 2-year, $30 million extension. The Bengals, you get a healthy Joe Burrow, and we see where that could actually go. The wild card is Cleveland, and then Pittsburgh's that one piece away from being another contender. And then also, too, you get all the cuts and all that, so you would think that Rodgers would be, if Rodgers was to come, because the only reason I say that is because he's the last big free agent on the market as of right now. Your Birds are beating the Phils right now.
Nice.
10-7.
Go Birds.
Yep. Yeah, so the schedule officially got released today. We are getting closer and closer to the NFL and college football. It's, like I said, we're about 3 months away from preseason. Hall of Fame game is end of July, beginning of August. And then preseason begins August 7th. So we were 3 months away from last week. So, getting closer to the edge, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, all right, I was waiting for you. I was diving into that until we can talk baseball.
All right.
We can talk baseball because we had some news yesterday.
Yes, we did.
Oh, not even yesterday. This morning
All right.
was official. Rob Manfred came out and had an interview and reinstated I think it was like 19 to 20
Players.
What?
16 players.
16 players. There we go. Thank you. I wasn't sure how many how many was. 16
Yeah,
players.
Players, coaches, and one owner.
Okay, and reinstated them for Hall of Fame eligibility. Now, the two notable players out of all this are Shoeless Joe Jackson and Pete Rose.
It's about damn time.
So there's I've been hearing from a lot of talking heads out here that now hear me out before we go into this, that it's a mistake. That Pete Rose didn't want to be eligible to Hall of Fame when he died. Like, if you were going to ban him, just keep him out. He wanted to be there when he was alive to be inducted into the Hall.
Right.
Now, he's eligible in 2 years. Listen, the one person that I think has been robbed out of everything is Joe Jackson. Shoeless Joe should have been in. He had nothing to do with the Black Sox scandal. And that's the problem. Like, he got lumped into this, and he was accused of fixing games when he had nothing to do with it. He was kind of thrown into that predicament. So, I'm very excited to hear about that he's in, that he's gonna be in.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah. Now, Pete Rose going in, or being eligible to go in, fine. I have no issue with them saying he's eligible.
No.
What happens, though? What happens to the argument if the 16 committee members don't put him in? Then is that a moot point? Do people stop clamoring about Pete going into the Hall? Because, listen, Pete, when he played, was the best.
Pete deserves to go into the Hall. Period.
As a player, yes. The problem is, though, is you lump in his manager, the manager record to it, and that's where everything right now becomes an issue, because that's when he bet on baseball and lied about it, because he said he never did it when it first started coming out. He said he'd never bet on baseball in articles and in interviews.
Right.
When now it's come out that it came out years ago that he was betting on baseball on his Reds to win. But it's the issue is that he bet on baseball and lied about it. That's the argument that I'm hearing from a lot of other people. And that's what I'm hearing from the quote-unquote talking heads out in New York.
Right.
So, I mean, we say that Pete needs to be in. Listen, before anyone starts with this, yes, Pete Rose is in the Hall of Fame. With his like his bat, his gloves, his shoe, like they're in the Hall. Pete Rose is technically in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose himself is not. The bust of Pete Rose is not in the Hall of Fame. Because I know that comment will be going everywhere. Because that's the same argument with Barry Bonds. Oh, well, Barry Bonds did this. Like, stop. And before anyone asks that, Barry Bonds deserves to be a Hall of Fame, but that's a different issue. But does Pete Rose's off the field issues, his gambling, the being accused of statutory rape in 2017, and the prison service that he did for tax evasion, does that hurt him? Because as much as we say that they shouldn't count, and I've even been this, they shouldn't count what happens off the field, the writers do.
Right.
Does that affect this? Does that affect him? Well, granted, he's not alive anymore, but does that affect people of these writers putting them in the Hall? And if they do put him in, how does this look on Manfred? What do you got? What do you say, Rye?
About
all of this. About all of this. About what I just said.
Look, Pete and Shoeless Joe got the fucking shaft. I'm glad that Commissioner Manfred's done it. These guys were given lifetime bans. These guys are no longer alive. I'm glad they lifted the ban.
Okay.
So I'm all behind it.
All right, like,
I mean, does it suck that they're not available for induction until 2028? Yeah.
Yeah, but I think what I'm trying to figure out too is, okay, they're eligible. Do these 16 writers, Shoeless Joe should be in. That's no ifs, ands, or buts. I think the big issue is going to be Pete Rose, because if Pete goes in, do people start making arguments for other players?
Oh, I mean, probably.
That maybe not have gambled on baseball, but like, I know you don't like him, but Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds, A-Rod, people like that nature. Now, granted, Don't get me wrong, steroid use and gambling, two completely different subjects. It's two completely different things. Gambling, until recently, and shit just became legal in other than Vegas. Because let's face it, Pete Rose was doing this with a bookie.
Right.
Steroids, depending on where it was or what they were using, was not illegal. Now, if they were using an anabolic or an HGH, like a horse tranquilizer, yeah, guess what? That's flat out illegal. that's a federal crime. Like, that's not even just a slap on the wrist. That's a federal offense.
Right.
But like, say like McGuire was not using anything illegal by MLB standards. He was using a creatine. That we know of. And also, let's face it, when it came to the steroid scandals, MLB allowed it and encouraged it. Now listen, the other thing you can do is, okay, say you put Pete Rose in. You put him in with an asterisk explaining why he was banned. Telling Pete Rose's story going into the Hall.
Oh, shit.
What?
Oh, something we've both been waiting on. Dropped an official poster.
What?
King of the Hill.
Oh, okay.
We got an official look at the main four.
Nice. But no, back to what I was saying real quick. If they go in, do you have an asterisk under their name explaining why they have this band or what they were not in for originally?
It's gone and over.
I don't think, as much as you say it's got it over, I don't think it is. Like, I think this might actually cause more of a rift in baseball.
Not at all. Look, they were banned for life. They are no longer alive. They are no longer banned.
Well, wasn't the actual rule in Rule 21 that there was a lifetime ban with no... I just saw...
It was a lifetime, no reprieve. Correct.
No reprieve, yeah.
Died. They are not alive, meaning there is no lifetime ban because their lifetime has ended.
I understand that, but if they go in, do you put an asterisk underneath their name explaining them, letting people learn? God forbid, the greatest thing in the world would be to have people learn why this person was the greatest player and what he did to get this ban, and people learn from it. I don't see that being an issue. Just like if you were to put one of these steroid guys in, you put an asterisk in there, and why, like, okay, he was banned for 50 games for taking in anabolic.
Pete Rose does not fucking deserve an asterisk because he is the all-time hits leader.
But
all-time hits leader.
But he's still, as much as we both agree he needs to be in there, he's still broke.
Let me finish. He is the all-time hits leader. He was banned for betting as a coach. What the fuck does being a coach have to do with being a player? Nothing. Nothing at all.
Because it's part of his legacy. That's the thing that no one talks about. It's still part of his legacy.
Everybody knows his legacy. Everybody knows Pete Rose was banned from baseball. Everybody knows why he was banned from baseball.
Okay, we know why he was banned from baseball. Jimmy, that's 8 years old, might not know it yet until he gets older. Like, that's what I'm getting at. Like, the whole point is, it's a museum, right? The Hall of Fame is a museum.
I want an asterisk by fucking A-Rod. I want one by Barry Bonds. I want one by Sammy Sosa.
Yeah.
By Mark McGuire.
Well, Sammy Sosa's not a Hall of Famer. We've talked about that. But yes, I agree with that.
Every single Hall of Famer that was caught up in the biogenesis scandal, including Mr. fucking biracial angel himself.
Yeah, guess what? I'm good with that.
No. While he might not have been on biogenesis, just like Shoeless Joe, he was part of the team that used it. Bye-bye. Thanks for the memories, number 2. We'll let you know when you die that you can get put in. Jeter was on a team full of dudes that were juicing. So I mean, by those standards, then they should all have an asterisk by their name.
Well, but when you say that is okay, Jeter was never caught though. Jeter and we don't know what was going on. But okay, but hold on. But we're okay with. Let me just ask you something real quick. We're okay with Doc Gooden doing a fucking line in the bullpen and people selling drugs out of there and doing coke and doing all this other stuff, beating wives, and it's people are Hall of Famers.
I didn't give a fuck about Doc Hendricks pitching a fucking no-hitter on acid. Good for him. But if we're going to put an asterisk by Pete Rose, saying, well, now that he's in, he was banned and only put in post-mortemly, okay? Jeter, A-Rod, every Yankees player that was part of the biogenesis scandal during their championship runs, put an asterisk by their name.
Well,
Doesn't matter if they cheated.
Jeter was never Jeter's name was never on the biogenesis.
Yeah, Joe Jackson's name was never on the fucking 8 Men Out.
Yeah, he got fucking lumped in for bullshit. He's not
right. So if we're going to be okay with that, we need to be okay with lumping Jeter in with his teammates doing biogenesis. It's the same shit. They're ball breaking rules. I'm sure he knew about it.
I think you I'm sorry. I think the fact that Pete listen, Pete broke even as a manager, he still broke a rule that led him to this. Just because he passed away does not take away from what his legacy was. Was he a great player? Yes. No one's denying that.
This is giving him his legacy. And you want to put an asterisk on it. On his legacy. That's been kept away from him for literally the entire second half of his life.
But Pete Rose also doesn't want to go in post. Pete Rose never wanted to go in post-mortem.
You can have it, but with a footnote attachment.
Yeah, for people to learn what happened. It's still a museum. At the end of the day, the Hall of Fame is a museum. But this is where I also get to this. If Pete Rose doesn't go, but okay.
Alex Rodriguez's biogenesis syringe.
Yeah, guess what? A-Rod, when he was with Texas, got busted for doping.
Right. So I mean, if it's history and people got to learn, well, why can't we put one of his roid needles in there and give it the story of how he got fucking in trouble for doping? It's a museum. People need to learn. Let's put in fucking something for Barry Bonds whenever he was roided out. And just say, oh, it's because you can learn. No, fuck that. Fuck that. If they're not going to put an asterisk on Bonds, they're not going to put an asterisk on McGuire. They better not fucking put one on Pete.
Bonds and McGuire haven't even... They're not going... Bonds ain't going in right now because Bonds he's off the ballot. Bonds is done until the 16 people that Pete Rose is going to get probably put in have the shot at putting Bonds in. I'm sorry. I'm sick and tired of this. When it came to the steroid stuff, I am sick and tired of this. When it comes to the steroid use, I will have no issue with somebody going in that did steroids and explaining why they were busted, or not why they were busted, but what they were going in for, because you still need to play the game. Period. We know this. But here's the problem. Right, they are taking away from our childhood of baseball. Because MLB had no issue when baseball should have been dead and buried, turning their back and letting the guys that we idolized growing up to just take whatever they want. We grew up in the steroid era. We grew up in the home run race. So to say that players that we watched, that we were fans of, that can't go into the Hall of Fame because of MLB's fuck up. Because we all know that baseball would be on the way of the dodo bird if it wasn't for Bonds and Sosa, or not Bonds and Sosa, sorry, Sammy and Mark, even though you hate Mark McGwire, which I get.
And McGwire admitted that he was on an illegal substance whenever he got it.
He admitted that he was on a substance that was not banned by Major League Baseball. You're right. Which then what was it, like a creatine?
It was an anabolic steroid.
Well, okay, yes, but it wasn't at that time banned by MLB. Then it was. I forget what the actual name of the cream that he was taking had, or that had it.
So, yeah. If they put an asterisk next to Pete Rose, I will fucking rage for an entire hour on this show.
Who even knows if Pete's going to get in?
Dude, it's a no-brainer Pete's getting in.
We say that, but they're gonna take a lot of those issues that we talked about with Pete, and it's quote unquote the integrity, and I'm using air quotes here, the integrity of the game, whatever that fucking means. Yeah, your integrity of the game went out in 98. When they allowed the steroid shit. The writers or whoever the 16 people in might not put them in. It's very possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it is very possible.
It's a possibility, but I feel like it's a remote possibility.
Right. I'm not saying that it's not going to happen. I'm just saying, I would sit here and not be shocked if he doesn't go in. I'm not going to be flabbergasted if he doesn't go in. I want to know why. That I don't want to hear, oh, well, he's not going in because he just bet on baseball. No, you got to give me a better reason than just that. Like that's a cop out.
That's fair.
Like if it has anything to do with the alleged statutory rape, YouTube, or his tax evasion stuff, all right, that's a better reason. I would want to know why. And I don't want to, like I just said, I don't want to hear, oh, well, he bet on baseball, so he's not going in. No, we all kind of have come to terms that he bet on baseball. You got to give us something more than just that. But, all right. Moving on?
Moving on.
Oh, well, moving on is, something that, how to put it? You might lose your shit. Actually, you're gonna lose your shit.
Alright.
Alright, so, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new pope.
Yeah, we have a new pope.
So, why I bring this up is, so, in, like, so, the Pope is a man that was from Chicago, first ever American Pope. And boy, the odds were interesting. Yes! Before you go and ask me why the hell I'm saying the odds were interesting, he was 64 to 1, 60 plus 6,400 to become the Pope. So 64 to 1. And you can bet on who the fucking Pope is going to be.
That's fucking. First off, that's disgusting.
So the reason that yes, I agree, it's disgusting. The reason I bring this up is because
Absolutely fucking.
a man decided to put $1,000 on said Pope winning, and won $64,000. Yeah. $64,000 betting on the motherfucking Pope.
First off, let me just go ahead and plug 1-800-BETS off. Because if you're betting on the Pope and who's going to win the Pope and where the Pope is coming from, you have a serious fucking gambling problem and you're a fucking degenerate.
Yeah, that's going a little bit too far.
Yeah, like if you're listening right now and you're a person that voted on who the Pope, bet on who the Pope was going to be, you're a fucking degenerate and please stop listening to us.
Stop it. Go get some help.
Yeah.
So here.
Yeah, dude.
So
1-800. Oh.
Yeah, 1-800 gambler.
No, it's actually 1-800-BETS off.
No, I'm saying in Jersey and New York, it's gambler. 1-800 gambler.
Technically, we're supposed to say that.
Yeah, but at the same time too. Listen. So here are some of the shit. This is where some of the people get it. You can bet on the next Pope. So that was a thing. You can bet on what the name of the Pope is going to be. So Pope Leo, Pope Francis, things like that. You can bet on where he's coming from. So Europe, Asia, Africa, North America, yada, yada, yada. You can bet the number of rounds that it took to elect the Pope.
Okay.
Yeah, those are all the bets that you could have made at a... listen, I'm not even going to tell you what sportsbook it was because I have no fucking clue because I wasn't even thinking about this shit.
That's some Stevie degenerate shit for real.
Apparently, it's not legal in the U.S., so holly fucking luya. But apparently, it was legal overseas. Remember, these are probably the same people that bet on sperm racing. That's right, you heard me correctly.
Sperm racing?
Yep.
Yeah, I saw this. Again, if you bet on this, you're a real degenerate.
By the way, perfect censorship of the of your fucking buzz. The buzz of your phone just bleeped over fucking. Yeah, sperm racing. That. Listen, that takes a whole new meaning to the Ocho. That's a whole new thing that I do not want to be watching on ESPN 8. Holy shit. Yeah, so yeah, betting on the Pope, sperm racing, things that you shouldn't be betting on for 1,000, Alex. Why? Just why?
Why?
Stop it. Get some help. I don't understand it.
I don't either.
But yeah. So congratulations on the dude that fucking won $16,000, but you also need to get some help. I don't know. Wait, that just broke? Okay, so Ryan, we have breaking news out in your neck of the woods in Kansas City. So, have you ever heard of the Chief Superfan?
Yeah, the dude that went to prison.
Yeah, so his sentence just came down.
And?
2 days ago, his sentence is official. He has been sentenced to 32 years in prison.
Hey, he killed somebody, I believe.
No,
Or it was like a scam or some shit, I don't remember.
No. He robbed a bank. Chiefaholic was sentenced to in an Oklahoma courtroom to serve 32 years in state prison for robbing a Tulsa area bank. Sentence will be carried out as he finishes time in federal prison. This was in December 2022. Yeah. He was, okay, so already served more than 17 years in federal prison for a string of 11 armed robberies across the state where he stolen $850,000.
Wow.
Oh. He going to that deep prison. He in state prison.
What?
Yowza. But alright, but as we have that, so finish last statement though. Back to the Pope thing, we'll wrap that up real quick and then we'll get into really sport wise. Again, we're kind of low. We have some other topics that we want to talk about. We can talk about that for the last half an hour. But wrap up with the gambling on the Pope, and we'll close it out.
I don't want to talk about gambling on the Pope anymore because, like, that, I'm not even a fucking Christian anymore. I'm a fucking pagan, and I find that shit super duper fucking disrespectful. Like, you are a low-life, degenerate fucking scumbag if you bet on that for real.
Yeah, I have to fully agree with you on that. Listen,
Dude, and that's coming from a dude that worships 9 gods over 1.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even follow Christianity. And I'm saying that's some degenerate shit right there. If blasphemy was real, that's it.
Oh yeah, that's the definition of blasphemy.
But like, dude, that's fucked up, dude. That's like sitting at a nursing home and fucking placing bets on what resident's gonna die next.
Don't give anyone any ideas.
Like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
So I would say on a lighter note, but that's not that's definitely not this. So I mean, unless anyone jumps in in the chat, we're pretty much done when it comes to our sports betting. But we got a bit of wrestling news that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, this is big too.
So, over WrestleMania weekend, there was a match, and as of Mother's Day, we lost Sabu, ECW superstar Sabu. Nothing has come out about how he passed yet. I do not believe.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Nothing.
So he had a match at GCW for his quote unquote retirement match against Joey Janela. And it was a barbed wire death match that was sloppy as hell. If anyone saw it, should have never been a thing. Like, I get it. Sabu, the homicidal, genocidal, suicidal Sabu, trying to give his glory days, get himself a paycheck, one more final run for the fans to say goodbye. This was not it. I mean, first off, when it comes to Sabu, sorry to say it, but Sabu, the fact that Sabu didn't die 15 years ago when he was pretty much in a stoma coma is shocking to me. But to die literally, 3 weeks to a month after his final match, and we don't know why yet? Well, that's interesting. That's questioning. I know you have thoughts on this, right? Right, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here, man. This is such a touchy subject.
Right, like,
but I'm just going to go ahead and say this. Apparently, the Kratom was supplied to Sabu by his team.
Okay, so that is official that it was by his team.
According to Joey Janela.
Okay.
Joey Janela's also backpedaled on his original story.
Parts.
So
well, granted, parts of.
His credibility's already being cast light on.
Right.
The big issue to me is what's the dude's name? Brett Lauderdale.
Brett Lauderdale.
The guy who runs the show, who promotes the show, who books the show, most importantly.
Yeah, guy the owner of the owner of GCW and a former CZW referee.
The guy who writes the stories and puts the card together. First off, what kind of fucking idiot books a 60-year-old man in a fucking barbed wire match?
Yeah.
So that there is question one. Because no matter what, no matter how they slice it or what story they try to use, yes, Sabu accepted the booking, but let's be honest. What are the odds? Sabu was hurting for money.
High.
So the odds of him turning down a booking are extremely low.
And let's face it, I'm also going to say this. He has been he was in a downward spiral ever since his wife passed away.
Correct. Understandably.
Right. Jeannie was his wife for a decent amount of time. I don't actually know the exact numbers, but it was a decent amount, at least 15 years, 15, 20 years, I want to say.
So is trying to rely on, we didn't give him the kratom, his team gave him the kratom, but the kratom is not the issue, because even in Las Vegas, kratom is legal and regulated.
Right.
The fault's going to lie, and I guarantee you whenever these autopsy results come back, something's going to be linked to that barbed wire match, because you don't book a fucking 60-year-old in a goddamn barbed wire match. That's common fucking sense. That's common fucking sense. Like, okay, perfect example. Terry Funk's last birthday.
Yeah.
Okay? He was roughly in his 80s.
Yep.
Okay? Would you have hit him with barbed wire?
No.
Why not? It's Terry Funk. Him and Mick Foley and Sabu were the kings of barbed wire. Why not? He knows what he's doing. Because that's the logic that the idiot motherfucking neckbeard living in their mother's basement fucking jerking off to fucking Victoria's Secret catalogs like it's 1994 neckbeard retard motherfuckers.
Thought you were going to say Sears catalogs. So, the one day...
Why'd you book Patrick Sabu? He knows what he's doing. He's the king of hardcore. He's done so many of them in the past. Yeah, he's done more fucking barbed wire matches than you guys have taken fucking showers, but not at 60. I'm sorry. GCW, I will guarantee you, I will put my fucking name on it. GCW is at least 70% liable for what happened to him after that event, because they booked a 60-year-old man in poor health in a fucking barbed wire match, while under the influence of a legal, natural opioid-like drug.
Now, the one thing I will say, and this is coming from Ringside News and stuff like that,
Book the barbed wire match. They let him work fucked up because they knew that he was on it. 100%, Brett Lauderdale's fucked, and Joey Janela's going with him, because he's not going to take the fall alone.
No,
Look,
yeah.
The match, Joey did the moves to it. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, listen. I'm not going to say you're wrong at all. I will say this, though. To the people on Twitter throwing death threats at Joey and Brett, shame on you. You know, you are just, you know nothing. Just like us, you know nothing about this. So you're accusing...
Here's another group of dumbass motherfuckers. The keyboard warrior section of the internet wrestling community. The guys that are throwing death threats at Brett Lauderdale and Joey Janela. And they're doing this shit from their Twitter accounts that has their real information or has their real IP address, without understanding that, like, threatening somebody is a crime. Threatening to kill somebody is a crime. Doing so over the internet, the federal government can get involved, and you're a domestic terrorist. You stupid, neckbeard, fucking ballless, faggot motherfuckers.
Listen, I'm just going to... Tell me how you really feel.
I think that like the internet wrestling community needs to cease thy faggotry.
You're not wrong. Listen, this is hard for me to talk about for the sole fact that I have to be unbiased. I have to. This just because of my stance on everything. I have to be unbiased. I have to be, as in the words of no pun intended, Bill Alfonso. I gotta call it right down the middle, Daddy.
Hey, I'm being. He's a nice guy. Hold on, it was good. I think it was funny. I'm being unbiased.
No, I'm not
I'm
saying.
looking
No,
at
no, no, no. I'm not saying you are. What I'm just. Let me finish what I was about to say. I know Joey. I've known Joey for years. I've known of Brett from CZW. I'm not friendly with Brett like I was with Joey. But I have to be unbiased with this. But with that being said, if they ever want to reach out to us, if there's anything that they want to get off their chest, this is an open platform. We will gladly allow you to use the platform.
Absolutely. Look, I'm being unbiased, but I'm looking at this from a worker's perspective.
Right. I'm not saying you aren't. I'm saying, though, is...
Hold on. No, but hold on. And if somebody from GCW wants to come on here and talk about this and debate this with me, absolutely, I will 100% do that. But they're going to have to take responsibility for A, booking a 60-year-old man in a barbed wire match, which is fucking next level retardation. Fucking get me one of those things from the Avatar movie, because this shit's avatarded. And secondly, they had to take responsibility for knowing that he was on an altering substance, even though it was legal, and allowing him to work. Perfect example, okay? One of the companies that I work for is cracking down on everything because, without saying names, show happened here recently. One of the top guys got drunk, tried to start a fight with a much smaller top guy in the parking lot. Okay?
Yep.
Now, anybody that's ever listened to this show for more than a month or two knows that I don't do anything without my precious tree of life. And now,
New show possibly coming soon.
Because of that, incident, if, say after my match, if I go out to the parking lot to my vehicle and I sit down and I light up a joint and I get caught, I'm fired. They're cracking down on substances, even legal ones. Because in the states that I'm working, marijuana is recreationally legal and medicinally legal. But the fact that they're still considering it a mind altering, not before the show, you know, do it on your way to the show, do it after teardown. Those are the only times that you're allowed to smoke at the event. It's the same type of shit that you should have done. You're on an stuff that we know is altering you. Sorry, buddy, you can't go out there and work tonight. Would it have sucked? Yeah. Would the crowd have been pissed? Absolutely. Would they have wanted their money back? A large majority of them, yeah, probably. But at the same time, without putting his body through that, because let's be honest, you've seen barbed wire matches. I've bumped barbed wire.
It's hard to gimmick it.
It's very hard to gimmick it. He probably didn't know that he had any injuries during the match because his body was in shock. Like, this is just another instance of what me and you have talked about several times, where guys like Sabu, Ric Flair, like, when is this going to stop? Whenever we watch one of our childhood idols die in the ring?
I mean, listen, it's one of those things. What sucks about this is the fact that it had to be something he smoked. If you told me Sabu died from an OD pill popping, I would be sitting here and being like, is anyone shocked by this? it brings more light to the forefront because it was no pills. He was using that to get off of pills.
Right.
And
I will say in my defense, from my story, I do smoke on my way to the arena. I don't wrestle under the influence, but I do smoke after my match. That way I don't hurt. I'm responsible. But look, they knew that he was on it, man. They knew who gave it to him. They knew he was on it. They made the decision to send him out there so they didn't have to give back money. Tell me I'm wrong.
Special WrestleMania weekend when they run a show that's 5, 6, 7 shows deep over the course of 3 days.
Yeah. Sorry, dude. It's WrestleMania weekend, so you know the hardcore fans are there all week catching indie shows leading up to going to Mania. Come on, let's not lie. If we ever fucking did Mania weekend, we'd do the same goddamn thing.
Dude, I have seen
Go to Effie's Big Gay Brunch. We would hit every fucking indie show happening on and around the strip leading up to Mania. You know it. I know it. Let's not lie to each other, brother.
I mean, when WrestleMania was here, first time when it was in
So
Jersey.
that was the Jericho HBK year, MetLife.
Yes.
Okay.
I went from just indie wise, I went from Thursday to Saturday, just hitting every fucking indie.
Right.
What?
Yeah, you had at least one show a night.
One show on Thursday, one show on Friday, fucking 4 shows on Saturday. Saturday was a nightmare because I went from noon to 2 o'clock in the morning at wrestling. That was interesting.
Right.
Let's just say, and then went to Hooters to watch WrestleMania. That was... Yeah, that was fun. As in fun, as in, I don't really want to do that again.
So yeah, bringing it back around to the GCW deal is Brett's gonna have to take the heat for this one because he knew he was, and so is Joey, because they knew he was on something. They went ahead with a match, and they did a barbed wire match with a 60-year-old man.
Now, I will also say this. On the other hand, I got to play both sides of this too. I agree. In some realm, Brett and GCW have to take responsibility. But at the same time, we need to see an autopsy.
True, because I mean this could very easily have been like a, because there are side effects to kratom use.
Yeah. Now, if any damage from the match caused it, yeah, then that's a whole different issue. But if there was for all we know, that could have been the final straw in his bump card.
True. Absolutely.
That's something no one's talking about either. That could have been the final bumps that Sabu could have even taken because of all the damage he did over the course of his career.
So here's something interesting. I've pulled up some information on kratom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So the short-term side effects, it has a stimulant effect. So we're talking increased energy, alertness, and elevated heart rate. Okay, so the first two side effects make sense as why he would use it the day of a match like that, because the second side effect is opioid-like effects: relaxation, pain relief, confusion, and sedation.
Right.
So for those two reasons alone, I could see why he used it before the match. If he used it and it gave him the stimulant effect, you know, he'd have fucking rocked it. But and for the opioid-like effect to not feel what he was going through physically. But it does have long-term side effects like liver damage.
Right. So, I mean, that, for all we know, that could be a reason. We won't know until we see, and I think that's the other thing too. The ICW needs to wait to see. You can form your opinion, but you
Right,
need
but we don't have a concrete information.
no. But we're forming our opinion off of, I mean, how old Sabu is, what Sabu's been doing.
An outcome that I didn't think about for a moment is, his death could be strictly kratom related.
Yeah.
What if he used it to help, his body healing from a barbed wire match? Because that takes a minute. I mean, 3 weeks sounds about right to me.
Yeah, but also, like I said, could it also have been?
But could it have led a heart rate that led to cardiac arrest?
Yeah, but also could it have been his his bump card ran out, like that was.
Or could it have been? Well, I mean, it was more for like his career, not his life.
But I'm saying is we don't know how much damage he had going into that match.
Right, because this could also be like an Eddie Guerrero situation where his years of hard drug abuse.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, with this match being 3 weeks prior to his death, there's gonna be some link to it.
Right, like
GCW, Brett Lauderdale, and Joey Janela, unfortunately, are all gonna take a hit on this, because they're going to find a way to link it, and they allowed him to wrestle under the influence.
Listen, it could be one guy's fault. It could be a huge misunderstanding.
And you've also, also like this is kind of like the Rey Mysterio fucking murder charge.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But that's the thing. We don't until we get.
Until they get the autopsy back that said that whenever Pero Gallo hit the rope, he fucking
snapped his neck.
Yeah, he severed a vertebrae in his cervical spine. Everybody thought that it was Ray kicking his back that did it.
Right. It looked like it, but no, it was he didn't take that bump correctly.
Look, I went back and watched some clips from that match, and there were a lot of really nasty bumps in that match that I could see taking a physical toll on his body that lasts longer than 3 weeks. Joey can say what he wants, but when Sabu went through that table and you saw his head hit the concrete, he was unconscious. He was 100% unconscious. The lights were on. His mouth was moving. No one was home.
Right.
And that's the story that Joey's backpedaling on at the moment. Well, he wasn't really knocked out. I mean, he was still talking to us. No, dude, go back and watch that clip, Ronnie.
I know. No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's like saying that fucking. You remember that CZW bump where Mickey Knuckles came off the
Yeah, she even said she knocked herself out.
platform and knocked herself out?
Yeah, because
That'd
the
be like,
board.
no, she didn't. She was conscious. She was conscious. She was communicating with her opponent. Like, no, dude, she was out. Matt Hardy in AEW, he wasn't out. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. And Sabu was unconscious. He wasn't starched, but his brain was in the middle of a reset.
Yeah, his mind was literally like a factory restart.
Yeah, he reset his brain.
Now it just so happened that he came to when Sandman's music hit.
But that could be a response. Think about how many times he was laying in an arena, fucking hurt, and Sandman's music would hit.
Right.
Like that I think we could attribute that to like a muscle memory response. His brain's in the middle of a reset trying to figure out what's going on and something familiar hits it.
Well, I'll give you a great example. And this is one of the things that no one talks about. I've heard stories of guys like Chris Candido being completely inebriated.
Right.
Just completely gone. Backstage before the match, he is in no. If he doesn't go out, if he's just there, you have no idea. He is a freaking shell of a man.
Right.
Minute that music hits, it's like he never lost it.
Yeah, again, this is it's a muscle memory thing, man. Like, I don't think people really appreciate or understand how much of pro wrestling, while you're doing it, becomes ingrained in your muscles.
Right.
Like, you ask anybody that's wrestled for any length of time over a year, hey, if you fall, what do? Oh, I turn my body. I flatten out. I try to make sure that I don't get hurt because it's muscle memory. You're trained for it. And whenever you're unconscious, having been knocked completely out a couple of times in my life, something familiar helps you kind of come back around. Because your brain's in the middle of a reset. You don't know, you for a minute, you don't know where you are. You don't know what happened at all. You have no idea what happened. Your brain's trying to put together a puzzle and it's missing a piece. And something familiar hits and you're back to a puzzle that's halfway done. Because it's something you've already done. So, like, it was muscle memory. If Sandman's music hit and it popped him out of it because it's something that his body was used to happening fucking every week for months on end while they were working an angle together. You know? It's muscle memory.
No, I fully understand. I get exactly what you mean because I've seen it.
Yeah, I know you've seen it. You're close enough to the business. You understand it. It's muscle memory. That's just like Steve Austin and The Undertaker. When Taker knocked him out at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Where are we at? He knew he was on the road. Where am I? You're in the garden. Really? Got back up, went to work because it jogged his memory.
Ugh. We need, like I said, we definitely need to see more of. We need to see more of the autopsy before, so we can get some concrete evidence.
Yes.
And yes, and the people of the IWC, maybe don't make fucking death threats until you know what the fuck is actually going on.
No, because I would fucking turn all those death threats over to the police, have those IP numbers tracked, and hit those people with lawsuits.
Yeah. Because that's just stupid. Because they're saying it was their fault for killing Sabu. It's like, we don't know that.
I mean, we don't know that, but how we want to lead because they booked a 60-year-old man in a fucking barbed wire.
Listen. Ethically, what they did, it's not right. We know this. Like, it just, the reason everything was ethically, it's not the right thing. Was it the cause of his death? We don't know. That's the biggest, that right there is a question that we don't have the answers to right now. And until we get the autopsy, we won't get the exact answers yet.
Correct.
So maybe people need to take a step back, take a deep breath, and calm the fuck down.
Yes.
But alright. Any other comments you want to talk about, or we want to bring this home?
Hold on. I got a 13 hours ago. Details on his cause of death.
Looking to... I'm on Wrestling Inc. Say that again?
Apparently the family knows, but it has not been released.
Okay. And we probably won't get anything right away, because I think they're... Let's face it, they might be, if anything, figuring out if there's a suit.
Right.
We don't know.
Nope. But after that, yeah, I got nothing.
Okay. Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show. Thank you for listening. If you like what you heard, please follow us on all social media accounts under the Nerd Report Network. Follow us individually on Twitter at FNRonnie.
It's Dunkak STL.
Join us back here next week as we dive into the good, the bad, and the what the fuck was that in the wild world of sports, sports betting, and professional wrestling. But until then, if you like what you heard, tell your friends. If you didn't like what you hear,
go fuck yourself.
Tell your enemies. But until then, always remind them two different things. One, Bobby Bonilla be getting paid. And two, there is always a teachable moment. And if you don't believe me, well then fuck it. That's just a fact of life. Yeah.